Imagine living in a country where every moment is monitored, every choice is predetermined, and every expression is scrutinized. North Korea is one of the most secretive and oppressive regimes in the world, where even the smallest misstep can lead to dire consequences. The internet serves as a vital resource for billions around the globe, a hub for information, entertainment, and worldwide connectivity. However, in North Korea, internet access is limited to a select few elites. Ordinary citizens are denied access to the global internet and instead use a heavily censored intranet known as Kwangmyong, which provides state-approved propaganda and educational content. Social media, Google, Wikipedia, all completely off-limits. While a select few elites in Pyongyang have access for work-related purposes, most North Koreans have no idea what the global internet looks like. This ensures that outside ideas, opinions, and truths remain out of reach for the general population. Entertainment in North Korea isn't about choice, it's about control. All forms of media are rigidly controlled by the government, and every movie, TV show, or song should echo the propaganda of the regime. Watching a foreign film or TV show is considered treasonous, especially if they are from South Korea or Western countries. For North Koreans, owning or distributing foreign media is a life-threatening gamble. Smugglers often bring USB drives or DVDs into the country from China, but those caught watching or sharing such content face brutal consequences: imprisonment, forced labor, or even public execution. The government views foreign media as a threat because it exposes citizens to life outside North Korea, a reality vastly different from state propaganda. Denim jeans are a staple in many wardrobes worldwide, but in North Korea, they symbolize Western influence and capitalism, two things the regime strongly opposes. Blue jeans, in particular, are strictly banned. The government associates them with the United States and sees wearing them as an act of defiance. While black or dark-colored denim may be tolerated in some areas, citizens are generally encouraged to wear traditional or plain clothing that follows state-imposed fashion guidelines. The ban on jeans is just one example of how deeply the regime controls personal expression, even down to fabric choices. Religious freedom is non-existent in North Korea. The regime views religion, especially Christianity, as a direct threat to its authority. Owning a Bible or any religious text is considered a crime against the state and punishable by imprisonment or execution. Citizens caught with religious materials or participating in secret worship services face severe punishment, including imprisonment in labor camps or even public execution. North Korea's few state-sanctioned churches are merely for show, designed to create the illusion of religious tolerance for visiting foreigners. For ordinary North Koreans, faith must remain hidden, often practiced in whispered prayers and secret gatherings. For many, visiting a foreign country is an exciting opportunity, but for North Koreans, it is nearly impossible. Passports are rarely granted, and only the most loyal and privileged citizens are allowed to travel abroad for diplomatic or commercial reasons. For the rest, attempting to flee North Korea is an act of extreme bravery and extreme risk. Many try to escape into China, but the journey is perilous, and those who are caught face brutal interrogations, imprisonment, or even execution. Additionally, family members of defectors are often punished, as guilt by association is a common practice under the regime. In North Korea, loyalty to the regime isn't just expected, it's mandatory. Speaking out against the government, its policies, or its leaders is unthinkable and carries severe punishment. Even a harmless joke about Kim Jong-un can lead to imprisonment or worse. Citizens are raised from childhood to believe the Kim family has godlike status, and any hint of disrespect is considered a crime. This culture of fear is reinforced by a vast network of informants, where even family members report one another to the authorities. Personal expression through hairstyles is not an option in North Korea. Citizens are required to choose from a list of government-approved hairstyles, all of which are conservative and deemed appropriate by the regime. Men can only have short and neatly trimmed haircuts, while women have slightly more options, but even those are strictly controlled. Deviating from these approved styles is seen as a challenge to state authority and can result in punishment. Owning a private car is an unattainable dream for most North Koreans, given the extreme poverty and strict government control. Vehicles are considered a luxury reserved for high-ranking officials, military personnel, and the elite. The majority of citizens rely on bicycles or public transportation, which is limited and unreliable. Cars are a symbol of status, and their ownership is strictly regulated by the government. The lack of private transportation ensures that citizens remain dependent on government-controlled infrastructure, further limiting mobility and independence. Music, like all media in North Korea, is heavily censored and must glorify the regime. Western pop, South Korean K-pop, and any other foreign genres are strictly banned. Citizens are required to listen to patriotic songs that praise the government and its leaders. The regime views foreign music as a dangerous influence that could spread rebellion or encourage dissent. Smuggling foreign music into the country is a serious crime, punishable by imprisonment or even execution. However, some citizens secretly listen to smuggled music as a small act of defiance against the government. For North Koreans, state-controlled media is the only source of news. Television, radio, and newspapers are saturated with propaganda, portraying North Korea as a strong and self-sufficient nation, while depicting the outside world as chaotic and inferior. International news outlets are completely banned. This isolates citizens and prevents them from learning about global events or comparing their lives to those of people in other countries. By controlling all information, the regime ensures that its version of reality remains unchallenged. Calling someone outside North Korea without permission is strictly forbidden. Phones that can connect to international networks are only available to the elite. For ordinary citizens, even owning a cell phone is a relatively new privilege, and international calls are completely restricted. Those caught making unauthorized calls face harsh punishments, including imprisonment. In most countries, traveling from one city to another is as simple as buying a ticket and hopping on a bus, train, or plane. But in North Korea, domestic travel is heavily restricted. Citizens must obtain government-issued travel permits to leave their hometowns, and these permits are difficult to get and often denied without explanation. Checkpoints along roads and railways ensure that no one travels without authorization. Fashion is often a form of self-expression, but in North Korea, individualism in dress is strictly forbidden. Western-style clothing, such as t-shirts with slogans, short skirts, or flashy accessories, is discouraged, if not outright banned. The government promotes modest, uniform-like dressing that reflects traditional values. Young North Koreans who attempt to wear South Korean-inspired fashion often face punishment. Even accessories like colorful shoes and handbags can be seen as capitalist decadence. In North Korea, private property does not exist. All land, homes, and businesses belong to the state. Citizens are assigned housing by the government and cannot buy, sell, or own homes. This system ensures total state control over resources and prevents citizens from accumulating personal wealth. It also reinforces dependence on the government for basic necessities. Traditional religious holidays, such as Christmas or Easter, are not recognized in North Korea. Instead, citizens are required to celebrate state-sanctioned holidays, many of which revolve around the birthdays of national leaders. These mass gatherings and public displays of loyalty replace religious traditions, ensuring that the personality cult of the Kim family remains unchallenged. Freedom of speech does not exist in North Korea. Even in private conversations, individuals are encouraged to report anti-state comments made by friends, family, or coworkers. Speaking against the government, its policies, or its leaders can result in imprisonment in a labor camp, or worse. The safest approach for most North Koreans? Staying silent. In most countries, people have the freedom to choose their careers based on skills and interests. In North Korea, jobs are assigned by the government based on the state's needs, not individual desires. Students are placed into predetermined career paths upon graduation, with little to no say in their future. Whether it's working on a farm, in a factory, or as a laborer, citizens must follow their assigned roles without question. North Koreans cannot watch international sporting events such as the Olympics or FIFA World Cup. Foreign sports broadcasts are banned, and only state-approved events featuring North Korean athletes are aired. This censorship prevents citizens from seeing how other countries compete and eliminates exposure to foreign cultures. Pet ownership is a privilege reserved for the elite. Ordinary citizens must obtain government approval to keep an animal. Pets are seen as a luxury, and strict controls ensure that only high-ranking families in Pyongyang can have them. The Kim family cult is inescapable. Every citizen must display portraits of Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un in their homes. The propaganda is everywhere, in posters, textbooks, and songs. Even in death, loyalty is required, with funerals including rituals to honor the regime. North Korea remains one of the most isolated and oppressive countries in the world, where daily freedoms many take for granted, such as choosing what to watch, wear, or say, are unimaginable luxuries. These strict regulations ensure that the government maintains absolute control over its people, suppressing any form of individuality or dissent.